I always will share with people when I coach public speaking is I go, where your mind goes, your body and your mouth will follow. Whatever we focus on, we 10 times it. So when we come out to speak, if we start thinking about all the negatives, am I smart enough? Am I going to say right? If I sound clearly enough? We're thinking about that and focusing on it, so we amplify that piece versus if we step in front of a group and go, I'm going to share my story. If I speak to these people clearly enough, guess what? We might be able to sneak our way into a place. And that happened one time.
Let's talk Tales. Today on Tales with Taylor, I have a professional growth expert who teaches stuck professionals to flip stale thinking into fresh results in their career or business. After losing his job on June 18th of 2015, he turned that setback into a breakthrough, proving that stale thinking leads to stale results. Through his Live Fresh recipe, he teaches professionals to be focused, resourceful, enthusiastic, strong, and honest, unlocking clarity, confidence, and momentum. Today, he is recognized as one of the world's top professional keynote speakers, inspiring audiences globally to take action and cook up the results they're hungry for one fresh decision at a time. It's Frank Kitchen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm going to leave. That was a great intro. I'm like, it's all set. Like, you told everything about me. Like, I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, so you're hired.
Oh, thank you. No, I love being a hype person. It's a lot of fun. And so tell me the tale of June 2015. How do you go from I lose my job to I'm going to catapult a career and be a globally recognized and awarded speaker?
I mean, it was crazy. Like, we always will talk about, I'll tell people on stage is like, when you're hungry for something, there are no excuses and you're completely unapologetic for it. But, you've got kids, I've got kids. And many times we'll ask our kids, like, what are you hungry for? They're like, I'm hungry. And we'll make something and we'll go, that's not what I want. And we have to go, what are you hungry for? We have to be very specific. So for me, for years, I talked about wanting to be a professional speaker. And most of the time when I was talking about it, I was talking about where I would travel to and having people holding signs up in the airport saying, Mr. Kitchen. I thought that would be really cool and awesome. And I was dreaming and thinking, but I wasn't putting the work in. So for about 8 years, I'd been talking about this speaking dream, and I was getting some speeches in, here and there, but I was talking more of a big game. It was funny because my wife would laugh at me. Her name is Kelly. And we were in Lamaze class, and people were like, well, what do you do? I go, I'm a professional speaker. But the funny thing was, she knew I was a professional speaker in August. I was working like college orientation and speaking there, but the rest of the year, I really wasn't working. I wasn't picking up the phone. I wasn't doing the emails. I wasn't putting the work in. And I often share with people, I was like, don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Live it. And I really wasn't living it. And so what happened was I was working a few different jobs. And my last, quote, job or employer, I was going through a job training program. And the idea was the year before, my 1-year anniversary came up. I was expecting a promotion and a raise. And they go, sorry, you haven't put the work in. We're going to put you through this training program to prove to us that, you deserve a raise. So I went through the program. And then June 18th, 2015 rolls around and I get a call from my boss. And he goes, hey, Frank, we need to go and meet today. I'm like, okay. Now for me, for the meeting I was about to go to New Mexico, and that was one of our territories for the company. And I was going to go meet with our clients and find out. So I'm like, okay, I'm pretty excited. And I told my wife, I'm like, hey, it's like, I'm going to go for the meeting. I was like, and I finished the training program. And like, I've been hearing good words behind the scenes that, this will probably be the point where I can get a promotion or a raise. And to be honest, I'd put my professional speaking dreams on the side. I'm going, hey, you know what? It was good for the few years and I was talking about it, but we've got kids. We got a kid on the way, time to get serious. And I end up going into this Panera Bread company and I meet with my boss. And during that meeting, he gives me this folder and he goes, Frank, your services are no longer needed.
Oh my goodness.
So the guy named Kitchen, we can laugh about it right now, gets fired in a restaurant.
Yeah, you can laugh now.
You can laugh now. But the thing was, this was the 4th job that I had lost since I'd moved out to Phoenix because I was living in Ohio and I'd met my wife. We were dating at the time and we had to make a decision. Who's going to move where? So I'm like, you know what? More opportunities in Phoenix. The weather's better here than Cleveland, Ohio.
Heck yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to move out west to be with you and start my speaking career. And as I said, I just really didn't put the work in. I was talking a lot of, pieces. And like I had students at my college go, hey, Frank, You challenge us to live our dreams. What are you doing to live yours? And they're talking about living. So I wasn't bringing my dream to life. So once you get fired from a job, and then you have a pregnant wife at home, she's 6.5 months pregnant,
Wow, yeah.
you have to really start considering, how did I get here? And when we went home, we had a discussion. She goes, what are we going to do? And the big conversation about what we're going to do is, our Father's Day tradition was we go see her parents
Mm.
on Father's Day weekend. So now I've got to go to my in-laws' house and explain that I've lost my fourth job. Their third grandchild is on the way, and I have no job, and I want to be a speaker.
Yeah.
That's how this thing gets started. You get to this point where we put ourselves in the corner, and I often share with people that I work with is, I was like, we can't wait to do something when we get put into a corner. We have to be more proactive. So anything I teach now is teaching from my mistakes. But what happened that weekend was, we talked to my father-in-law, and he asked me, what are you going to do? Luckily, I had planned to leave my job before they left me.
Oh, there you go.
So I had signed up for a speaker showcase.
Okay.
And I signed up for this showcase, and my wife goes, take my dad with you. Now, that's pretty scary. Here's this man where he's never seen me speak. He's known me now for about 8 years. And I got to go to this showcase where now I want to start this business. And I got to have my father-in-law in this room. And I signed up for a high school student leadership conference. So I've got about 100 plus high school students. So I've got all these people will tell you suck in a heartbeat.
Right. You got tough competition.
Right.
To deal with.
And my father-in-law. So
Yeah.
no pressure. But at the end of the speech, my father-in-law and I had a conversation. And he goes, hey, Frank, this is what you're born to do.
Wow.
What can we do to help you? And at that point, recognizing that my father-in-law had my back, my wife had my back, I actually started to put the work in. So the big piece to answer your question is, we have to be just more proactive. And I tell people, when we're, obviously my last name being Kitchen, which that really is my name,
Yeah.
is if you were to tell me, or your kids were to tell me right now, they're hungry, we don't say, I'll wait till tomorrow or next week.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny when we come to our life, personal or professional parts of our life, when we quote say we're hungry for something or want something, we'll say, you know what, I'll wait for it. I'll get to it later. And when we do that, that's when things, as you said earlier in the intro, get stale. They get old. They get unwanted, needed, discarded. And I'd let my idea, my aspirations get stale.
Mm.
They got old. But then once I got fired, I started to recognize this, and we can all recognize it, is some things that are old and stale can still, quote, be freshened up.
Mm-hmm.
And that freshen up piece is, like my wife will often say, her name's Kelly, is she goes, you make the best French toast from old bread. So I'm in this point right now where we're just looking to make French toast every day.
Oh, my kids love French toast. So that's
Mhm.
perfect. And I'm sure you're aware, but most people are more afraid of public speaking than death.
Mhm.
So what was it about public speaking and being a speaker on stage that you just loved so much and you knew that you wanted to do it?
I've just always loved pulling the best out of people. So I've always been in a training position. So way back when I worked in retail, and in retail I was a manager or a trainer. So I trained people to how to be better in their sales, customer service, and the place I worked, we won awards and people got promoted. And I loved doing that. Then I went on to work at a college, and I worked in leadership development. And the whole piece was, how do we get the students better? So it's something I always enjoyed, but I never understood that speaking could be an opportunity. And you said about speaking being, one of these big fears. I grew up quiet and shy. I grew up in a military family. We traveled all the time. So I was always rated quiet and shy. I mean, even in high school, they have like the votes for, most outgoing.
Right.
I was, runner up for most quiet and shy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and-
I would have thought maybe you got used to introducing yourself because all the moving. And
No, what happened was, like, why introduce myself?
Hmm.
Because we're going to be moving soon.
That's a
So,
shame. Yeah.
so a lot of times it's hard to just get connected. You didn't really have those deep connections because, like, okay, if we get connected, guess what? Either I'm moving or they're moving, because that's just how it works in those, military families. And back to saying about being the runner-up for quiet and shy, the person who won, he was the guy who sat next to me in the lunchroom. I mean, and the funny thing is, he's a pastor of churches around the country and a speaker.
Oh, wow.
So two of the quietest people have become speakers. But what happened was, back to we talked about this whole piece about being hungry, there's a lot of things that I wanted to do in my life. And many times it involved you being, quote, in the public eye and speaking. And it was funny, when it required something for work or for somebody else, I didn't think about it. I would just go and do it. But when it was for me, for myself, I'm like, I can't do it. And a lot of changed years later when I was working at this college, and outside of Cleveland, Ohio. It's called Lakeland Community College. And we were doing a program for the Martin Luther King celebration. And I was always the guy behind the scenes. So I was the person where if there's an event or we're doing even a show like this, I'm kind of like the producer. And I had fun doing that, getting everything organized, getting people on set going to do. So I was the planner. And people were constantly talking to me like, hey, Frank, can we get you on stage? I'm like, I'm happy back here. And then one day, this young man, probably like 11 or 12 years old, and he goes, hey, I'm looking for Mr. Kitchen. And I'm like, I'm Mr. Kitchen. He goes, you can't be Mr. Kitchen. I'm like, why? He goes, you're too young. I was probably like 30, 31 at the time.
What a compliment.
It was a compliment. He's like, too young. He goes, yeah. He's like, everybody involved in events like this tend to be grandparents or grandfathers and people like that trying to tell us what to go and do. And at that point, I recognized I had some people there going, hey, Frank, we'd love for you to be a role model for people. And I realized there was a gap. You don't find people in their 20s, 30s, or 40s showing like what they're doing. And I went out and started to go speak that at the night. And I talked about meeting the young man and what happened. And then that started to open up doors. And I started to recognize if you're willing to speak in front of a group, it opens up opportunities for you. So I made it a point of, okay, how do I get better? So I took acting classes and improv classes and goes like, oh, wow, these opened opportunities. So whether it be trips or getting into events, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and work more on this public speaking thing. So I always will share with people when I coach public speaking is I go, where your mind goes, your body and your mouth will follow. So what we end up doing is we start thinking about what we can't do. And the way the brain is, I've got a friend who studies NLP and he says, hey, whatever we focus on, we 10 times it. So when we come out to speak, if we start thinking about all the negatives, am I smart enough? Am I going to say right? If I sound clearly enough, we're thinking about that and focusing on it. So we amplify that piece versus if we step in front of a group and go, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to make these people better. I'm going to have fun with this. Oh, you know what? If I speak to these people clearly enough, guess what? We might be able to sneak our way into a place. And that happened one time because my friends were in Vegas to go, the people were at this bar and they go, you know, you had to get your way in. And they go, the guy goes, who's your best speaker? And all my friends point to me. So I end up talking to the doorman and stuff like that. Next thing you know, we're in this like penthouse bar club in Vegas having a good time because I was able to speak clearly and confidently to a group. Right. So it's funny when you focus on more what you want than what you don't want, what can happen.
What you think about, you bring about, and it can be positive or negative. Yep. And so might as well make it positive and work for yourself. But that's easier said than done.
Yes.
So how do you help people flip their mindset?
Yep. So when we talk about flip their mindset, I love that you said that because you actually hid something on set for me today. So I'm gonna reach down to it, and this is what my son likes to call Jimmy the spatula. And when we say flip your mindset, a lot of things I do, I'd say are kitchen inspired. I mean, with the last name Kitchen, I've been called living room, dining room, bathroom, just everything from the book, but. With the name Kitchen, my mom always talks about, says kitchen is the room that brings people together. It's the things where things get cooked up. I mean, if we're talking about cooking, when you go into a kitchen, we're literally bringing an idea to life.
Yeah.
We put together the ingredients to bring it to life. So when we talk about flipping our mindset, I often will share this on stage and I go, hey, what is this? And everybody goes, it's a spatula. And I'll say, well, what's it for? And people like, oh, hamburgers, pancakes, they start throwing all these ideas out. It's for flipping things. But I go, for me, this is a literal and a figurative piece of these are the three things you need to do to transform any vision into reality. So number one is if you grab a spatula, even if you can't cook, you are making the mental commitment of, hey, I'm going to step into that kitchen and whatever's in my head, I'm going to cook it up and make it happen, even if you've never done it before. But we also understand, number one is like you got to make the mental commitment. But number two is we have to put the work in. So with the spatula, it usually means you're going to be working, you're going to be flipping things over. But what happens is during that work, you're working to adjust and adapt to what's going on because there's always challenges. And if you have it on too long, it could burn. So you got to cook it the proper way. But the most important thing is, and this is how I grew my business, was many times in life, we're focused just on ourselves. And I had to recognize the reason I failed early on in my business endeavors was I was focused so much on myself, I wasn't focused on the people that I was serving. And anybody who ever cooks, they find more satisfaction not in cooking for themselves, but in cooking and serving others. So this is a reminder to focus on who I'm serving, of which who I'm serving is not me, it's the people that I work with. Oh,
I love that. For so many reasons, especially also being the cook of the house.
Okay.
And also someone who's a vegetarian but cooks meat for people because that's what they want. And it's the same thing when we think, I literally just said this too. And I just had an interview with Kenyatta Turner. We were talking about the golden rule and how the golden rule is broken because you shouldn't treat people the way that you want to be treated. You should be treating people the way that they want to be treated.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when we're trying to help our clients. It's not, what do I think I want for my video? It's no, what do you need for yours?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
it's funny was I ran away from this name kitchen for so long, but now with my speaking and coaching, it's so easy to tie in.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you brought in the analogies there because I was working with someone in Ohio a few weeks ago. There's someone who I've mentored, and she came to meet me. She's like, "Hey, Frank, how do I adapt my speeches? How do I adapt my business?" Mm-hmm. And I go, "What's something really good you cook at your house?" So she told me it's a rice dish. And I go, "So can that rice dish be made for people who like meat?" She goes, "Yeah." I was like, "What about vegan or vegetarian?" She goes, "Yeah." I was like, "So your speech and your work can be done the same thing?" She's like, "What?" I was like, "You focus on who you serve." I was like, "And what do you do when people come to your house?" She's like, "Oh, I asked them, do they have any allergies, any special things? What do they want?" I was like, "Can't you do the same thing in your business?"
Yeah.
So for me, that's what happened was when I first walked in, I was thinking about, what am I going to speak on? I'm going to tell them this. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to be told anything. But you said you're the cook at your house. I'm sure when people walk in and you're making a meal, come on in. Let me share with you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so many people love to have people share with them to make them better versus tell them.
So true. So true. Make it more of a collaborative effort
Yeah.
and then grow together. And And I love how it's cooking and not baking because cooking, there's flexibility. Some days I want to make it a little extra spicy because I'm just feeling for the extra spice. Or some days, let's make it a little more mild. Or, and you're able to adapt and change according to whom you're cooking for and, how it feels. It'll best fit for that setting and that mood and that particular purpose. Baking, it's a little too much rules for me.
It is. But yeah, you said with the cooking, everything can be adapted, but also cooking reflects back on our lives because we're never going to cook things perfectly. So we're always working to refine it, to tweak it, or to improve it.
Yeah, so true.
Because we set expectations for people. So there's always that challenge of, okay, can I create that same level? So when I go and speak, that's that same piece there where it's like, okay, I bring my own flavor to the event. But now with the next event, people are like, well, how do you keep it from getting boring? Like it's a completely different
Audience,
group.
Yeah.
So I've got to go and tweak it and refine it to make sure it meets their needs and their flavor palette.
And so what type of groups do you like to speak for? Whom would be a good person to, hire you to speak to the organization?
So one of the main areas I like to work with are professional associations or trade groups.
Okay.
Because many of the people who are there tend to be professionals, about 35 to 55. Sometimes 25 will go down to the spot, but they're not getting the professional development that they need at their employer. And they want to get better. They either want to move up the career ladder or maybe go start their own thing. So I'm there. I usually like to be the opening keynote speaker to remind them of what they can do, that they're amazing, that they're awesome, and they can produce or, quote, cook up amazing results because they may not be getting that in their workplace or in their life or the people who are around them. So that's my favorite group. And then with my last name, and my father-in-law talked about it, then I'm there to, quote, share my recipe. So I coach professional speakers and speakers on the side, but when I go on the stage, I'll share with people, I'm not here to make you a professional speaker, but I want to share with you the resources or the recipe that I use to go from fired on Father's Day to being recognized as one of the top speakers in the world. Can I share that with you? And they go, yes. And I go, yeah. When we share recipes, like any recipe can be refined to meet your needs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing your last name, just how well it just works into so many things. It's just such a blessing, honestly. And I always get curious with branding.
Yes.
What was it that made you choose those particular colors and that bit of a flame with the K? And tell me a little bit about your, the idea behind the brand.
Yeah. So the brand, it was an evolution because early on, there's a picture that I took here in Phoenix, Arizona. I was down at, Hole in Rock. I was with a photographer and I'm known for just joking around and it's funny, the stuff you do off script attracts more people over. So my photographer was reloading like memory card and batteries and there's a rock and I jumped off the rock in the air and she goes, "Can you do that again?" So I was like, yeah. So we jumped off, we took the picture and I took it to my graphics person. He's like, "Man, that'd make a great logo." So, you've got Jordan doing the jump man.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me jumping like this and they did a silhouette and holding a microphone. And that was a logo for a while. And like, I'm in the Southwest. So let's go ahead and use Southwest colors. So like all these like, oranges and reds, but it just wasn't attracting me. And then a few years later, I had one of my former students was in town and goes, "Hey, coach," because I used to help coach basketball. It's like, "I'm going to be in town speaking at an event. Will you come and, critique me?" And Lindsay was there to speak for a group. She's working for a group who is encouraging people to run marathons and raise money for nonprofits and to provide clean drinking water in Africa. So during the speech and during the video process, there's a person who goes, yeah, he goes, when we have water, he goes, everything turns green and it brings life. And the light bulb went off. I'm like, I'm going to do everything green. And then my wife's name is Kelly. So I'm like, I'm going to make the thing Kelly green. So it's a reminder of what I speak on. So that became the color. Was like, okay, everything's green. I go, well, if I'm the professional growth expert, shouldn't I be teaching people how to grow? And if you grow, you take action. Green is the color of growth and action. So everybody's got some type of symbolism. But as I started to develop and refine, I met with my person who does a lot of my marketing and graphics. Like, well, we need to kind of tweak this now. I want it to look very personalized. So she started to like look at the logo. We've got it going on here. And she goes, well, what do people always say to you? I was like, well, they're really focused on kitchen. So she goes, kitchen needs to be the center focus of it. And she goes, we need to separate the colors. Are you willing to bring more color in? Because she's like, green is there, but she's like, we can bring some more stuff. She's like, what do you do? I was like, well, I teach people to cook. She's like, doesn't cooking require heat and fire? So Candy, I got to show her out and see her here live right now. So thank you, Candy. So Candy started to work with me. She's like, I would love to add some reds, yellows, and oranges. Would that be okay? She's like, because you're bringing fire and life to this thing to allow people to go to that green and growth. But the fun part is, as she did the logo there, it says that's actually an F and a K.
Oh, is it really? I thought it was. I see the K, definitely.
Yeah. I thought if you look at it, it's an F going up.
Oh, yeah.
But the biggest part in there is in the middle. There's a heart.
Yes.
And a lot of people focus on it. She goes, you bring heart and passion and joy. And anybody who works with me always talks about, Frank, you truly show that you care about us. You don't care just about you. So the idea is, I'm the guy who's the kitchen. We're bringing some fire, but we're bringing that fire with some heart.
It also kind of reminds me too of like a rising phoenix a little bit when you look at it, which also really plays well with the whole like rebirth of your career, your life, your business, you know, and then obviously, you know, the green, although I'm a Giants fan, Kelly green is the best kind of green. So I'll give
Well, I did live in Philadelphia, but I'm not going to do that whole Eagles chant for you. But,
okay, please don't.
But I lived in Washington, so
it's been been a pretty rough few years for me.
Hey, I'm a Washington fan, so I understand.
Okay. Yes.
But I mean, so that's where it came from, where anytime I speak, whether it be numbers, colors, I try to bring it back to why I do this, and it's because of the family. So even today, I've got my friend, his name is Candyman, but he makes custom shoes for speakers.
Oh, wow.
But
just speakers, or can I hit them
speakers,
up?
influencers, anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hit them up also. So I'll throw the love out. Candyman Kicks. So just go look at Candyman Kicks. I'm going to take my shoe off for a second just so we can show it here on camera.
All right.
But my kid's favorite colors are pink and green.
Oh,
so he put that on there.
Love that.
But kids are messy, so there's a splatter on the shoe. But then on the inside or pieces, he puts like little logos or just like little, you know, pieces in there just to remind you. So he calls it you on a shoe. So for me, when I'm speaking, the Kelly green reminds me of my wife. She's always been there to support me. When I do certain things with numbers, my daughter's birthday is on the 2nd, so sometimes I talk about things in 2. My favorite number is 4. My son was born on the 30th. My wife is 16. So a lot of times in the speeches, like, so I just released them like, hey, everybody's like, I'm looking to work with 16 speakers right now to coach you for the upcoming new year. Oh, okay. They get it. Have a workbook. Here's 30 activities to flip your mindset.
Wow.
I was like, hey, you need an accountability partner. You need at least 2 people. So there's like numbers, and it always reminds me of why I got into this. It wasn't for me. It's to be able to take care and provide for my family. So when people watch things, there'll be either pictures or there's little imagery, not so much for the audience, but for me.
Love that.
To remind me of why I'm doing it and make sure I do the best job possible.
That is so awesome. I'm going to hit up Candyman Kicks, definitely.
We'll have to invite him here. Have to introduce you. Get him on the show.
Please. Yes. And, you know, most of the time I ask people, if you were to write a book, what would be the title of that tale? But here I have 2 sitting in front of me. So let's talk a little bit about these books. You know, what motivated you to write them, and, you know, who should be reading these books?
Okay. Well, the first one is, I never thought I'd be an author. And right now I'm finishing up the 3rd book.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm working on my 3rd book right now, and, you know, it's available. So if people want to contact me directly, you know, I know you've got show notes here, or if they just want to go get it off on Amazon, that'll be the 3rd book. So we'll talk about that one here in a second. But I never thought I'd be an author. But years ago, when blogging was the thing, my family had moved away to Florida. I was living in Ohio. And some friends exposed me to blogging. I'm like, oh, you know what? Instead of having to call mom every day and let her know what I'm up to, I will just start blogging. And eventually someone goes, do you have a book? And I go, no. It's like, I don't have time to write. And they go, well, you've got 500 blog posts. Like, you have a book.
Right. What do you mean you don't have time to write?
So what I did was, when I wrote my first book, it's right here, it's called Fresh from the Kitchen.
Right here.
And yeah, right there. I went and took some of the best blog posts and put it together as a collaboration for the book.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just like my first experiment. So this is like, right now, this is like the 4th edition of the book.
Oh, wow.
So-
44 tasty techniques for cooking up the professional dreams you're hungry for.
Right. So what we did with the book was, we're all at a place where we feel stuck. And we said, who do I like to work with? I like to work with stuck professionals. People are like, I want more. I just don't know how to do it. It's like if we step into a kitchen and go, hey, is there something you're hungry for, but you don't know how to cook it? And they go, yes. I'm like, well, what do you do? And people will say, Pinterest, go find a recipe cookbook. So a lot of people go, like, hey, is this a cookbook? I'm like, yes and no. Like, what do you mean? I was like, it is a cookbook. I was like, not to cook up food, but you've got something in your, career, your business, your organization that you're hungry to transform into reality. I'm going to give you 44 techniques that I use to start my business. And the great part about the book is people, when they pick it up, they go, oh, I don't have to read it in order because it's written like a blog. Yeah. I was like, or I can read the one chapter and you're going to go, oh, it's not where you have to read chapter 1 to go to chapter 2 and 3. So it was just my fun, lighthearted way of saying, hey, here's some information and knowledge that's fresh from the kitchen, because when I used to be a trainer, I did a newsletter for my employees and it's called Fresh from the Kitchen.
Nice.
So it made the great way for the book. So that one was fun there. And then the cover of the book is fun because my kids, we were doing some promotional photos, and I like to have the family involved as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So the kids came along and they go, Dad, you should put a chef hat on. We had some fun. So the kids actually took photos that day too, and those photos show up in my slideshow for my speeches.
Nice.
But they actually made the book cover. They went on to Canva. They designed the book cover. So that's something, once again, special for me, where that's, the family's involved. So that's the first book. And then the second book there, it's called 52 Ways to Shine. When I first started speaking, I've got a good friend. His name is Roger Campbell, one of my best friends. Yeah. And he was working at another college. And he goes, hey, Frank, I've left my college job. And I go, well, what's your parachute? What are you going to go do? And he goes, you. I'm like, what do you mean you? We started out together as a speaking duo, and we're known as the Bad Bad Apples.
Okay.
And we always had these great quotes on stage. And some people came to us one time, one of our clients goes, hey, we love all your quotes. Could you put that together into a book? So we're like, okay, just a book of quotes doesn't make sense. So Roger's father is a pastor from Jamaica. And anytime we went to his house, he did this little thing. It's called Daily Bread. So I'm not sure if you know what that book is. For anybody watching Daily Bread, it would have quotes, but then it'd have questions of reflection.
Yes, I love that. I see that right here.
So that book, it became a workbook where we said, hey, here's the quote. Here's what the quote means. And then here's 4 to 5 questions that allow you, and 4 questions generally because Roger's got 4 kids, to help you reflect and help you build, because many times we're in this telling spot, but when you have time to reflect, that actually is more of a motivation than having somebody tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So the funny part about that book was we'd written the book before, and then self-publishing came out like right before COVID. So I reached out to Roger. Hey, Roger, we've got this book we've been sitting on. We wrote it for the one client, but we never released it to the world. I'm like, I know how to do self-publishing now because I'd done my book. And he's like, okay. So we published the book January of 2020.
Wow.
Then the world shut down in March. Mm-hmm. And it says at the bottom there, discover your value,
and leaving an impact.
So a lot of people felt less than valued in 2020.
Yeah. So
that book came out at the right time, and then that book blew up to where people we're using this for employee meetings, for trainings. We had a couple of youth groups where kids are going through substance abuse issues, and is reminding them that they have value, because with the apple on it, when Roger and I were speaking about our stories, are you a bad apple? It was saying an apple has value and impact. Mm-hmm. For some people, they see it for the monetary value, but some people see the impact that it can have on others. And we say, hey, if a rotten apple can spoil, the other apples around, what about a shiny apple? Because we know if we put the right person who feels valuable, it's positively contagious. So that book people love because it's a book for them.
I am loving this too. I've had a chance to look at this prior to our recording here. I love, as someone whom is very busy, trying to run a business, a family. Yep. I have probably 4 books sitting on my table that I want to read. Mm-hmm. I'll maybe get my 10 minutes here and there. You're right. I go through one chapter and then it's like snaps. I feel like I have to reread it slightly to pick myself back up. But this is something that as a family, as a team, I want to bring this to my networking organization, that we could just say, we're just doing this. Yeah. We're just going to read this one little passage And then just these, and I love how there's space to fill it in, because I'm definitely one of those people who writes on my books that I own.
Yeah.
And so, I could fill this in, or I can scan in and provide, it's amazing.
Well, you can thank my wife for that, because my wife was a teacher. And
Kelly sounds like an amazing person.
She's a very amazing person.
She keeps going about. I'm like, Kelly sounds amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. But she's a teacher. And she goes, Frank, I like when you have workbooks. She's like, and you give us space to write, because she's just like you. Yeah. So we have to listen to, as you said, our audience. What do they want? And with that book, people are saying, we use this for employee meetings, team building, to establish that they've got value, but they want somewhere to write. Yeah. Because many times, like, we'll go get a journal, go get a book. Okay, now there's already a disconnect. There's 52 weeks in a year. So guess what? You can focus on one thing per week. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. So we started going, because my wife and I are reading, sorry, Tony Robbins, I'm going to say it right now. But Tony Robbins, when he writes his books, there's these big, huge books. Yep. And he starts talking about these processes in chapter 1, chapter 2. We'll get to that one in chapter 30. We're like, well, no, I want to know now.
Oh, I know. It drives me nuts too. And you're like, I don't have time to get to chapter 30 right now. Yes.
So any books that I'm writing for the future are going to be written in this style, because even the book here, Fresh from the Kitchen, there's points in there where there's parts to write. I go, hey, what's your soundtrack? And I go, hey, put together your playlist. And they give space for people to write, because people want space to write. So the book that's is coming out now, the new one that just came out, is pretty much, it's called the Live Fresh Workbook. And the idea is here's 30 mindset flipping activities and exercises to go ahead and transform stale thinking into fresh results. So I'm giving people little activities during the day where it's going, okay, you're amazing. Now it's going, what makes you amazing? So you need to write down, because we forget the wins in our life. We try to compare ourselves to other people. I'll talk about a thing, because you like food. I go, meal prep. I'm like, we're trying to cook up these big dreams in our life. Then the question is, okay, well, what do you do to prep for that meal? Because when we prep for a meal, we go look at the recipe, but we also, so I always encourage people, what do you do for the first 30 minutes of the day to make yourself feel amazing? Because we've got kids, we've got life, we've got business. So what are we doing for ourselves? We say all these things are important, but then that's not the first way we start our day. We'll go look at the news, go look at social media, and we watch other people, but we're not really, it's not selfish, but focused on building ourselves up. So, I have a little piece on there. It's like, okay, what's your, what are you doing right now to meal prep? And like, my thing is pretty much memorized now. It's like, okay, kiss Kelly. Now, if I'm not there, then I got to text Kelly with a kiss emoji. Drink water. Okay, I got to hydrate myself during the day. All right, read your affirmation. I read my affirmation. It's like, or pray. It goes, okay, exercise. I do some type of exercise or stretching, because we say we want to be around. Then I either read a book, listen to a podcast, or listen to an audiobook. And then I review my goals for the day in my calendar. So by the time the first 30 minutes is done, I've done all this amazing stuff to build myself up to be ready for this day. So that book there has all that information. Sorry, I don't have it here with you right now, but people can still go look for that one too.
We'll definitely have a link to it in the show notes, that's for sure. And so, I love what you said, how you start your day. What would be the one recommendation you would give to people to really flip their mindset and start, on a better foot every day?
I mean, to start on a better foot every day is we have to stop comparing ourselves to other people, because that's what our world is designed to do right now. There's a university here in town. It's called Grand Canyon University, and I was helping a young gentleman. He had Down syndrome. He's going to college there. And I went into his marketing classes, working as his respite provider years ago. And the marketing instructor goes, hey, every piece of marketing out there is designed to make you feel worse about yourself to help sell a product or service. So a couple of students challenged the professor, and he goes, okay, let's go ahead. And he pulled some commercials up. And he showed, I think it was like a Dodge Durango commercial. And there's a family of 4, and they pull into their garage, 2-floor house, white picket fence, dog in the car. And he goes, what happens? And people are like, oh, yeah, it's like you're saying the car has more room. He goes, no, let's really go into our subconscious. It's saying in order for you to be happy, you have to be married, you have to have 2 kids, you have to have a dog, and you have to live in the suburbs with a white picket fence. So he goes, now what are you constantly looking to do? He's like, you're trying to go and do that. He goes, who says you have to be married? Who says you have to have a car? Who says you have to have a house? He goes, what makes you happy? So for the day, I always tell people, one of the things that flip the mindset, start to focusing on what you're hungry for and to be unapologetic for it. So as you said, if we're going to go out and eat right now, you're going to probably order something on the menu, and I will too. Neither of us are going to criticize each other. Neither of us are going to judge each other. I'm going to probably say, does that taste good? Are you happy? And you'll do the same thing to me. And I might come back and order it, the next time, because you're going to talk about it. That's what we have to do. We have to recognize this is our life, our career, our passion. So whether it be personal life or professional life, what do you want? It's not what everybody else wants. And there's points where there's things that we like that other people will probably turn their nose up at. But as long as you're still happy and they can see you're happy, you're going to probably inspire more of those people than to turn them away. And I always ask people, like, what are we doing when we wake up? What are we doing to either inspire, educate, or empower others to go out and cook up the results that they're hungry for too? Cook up what you're hungry for, but then inspire, educate, and empower others to go do the same.
That's so good. You know, I feel people will defend pineapple on pizza till the end, but they won't defend their life choices all the time. It's interesting how, you know, there's such a disconnect with that when it comes to things that actually do matter.
Yeah, I mean, people will talk about, okay, well, you know, the battle between putting either ketchup or mustard on a hot dog, they'll battle about that, and they'll fight to the end. But if you say, hey, you know what? I want to start my own video production company. I want to be a professional speaker. I want to be a video editor. I won't tell anybody about that. I don't want them to judge me. I don't want them to criticize me or critique me. I want to go share. But if we sit in the car and go, where do you want to go eat? And I'm like, oh, I want to go here and get chicken wings. And it's like, okay. And that's the sad part about our life is I say we have to be, quote, kitchen inspired because, as I said, when we're truly hungry for something, we have no problem sharing it with everybody in the world. And we know we've got kids, you and I, we both got 2 kids. Those kids will have no problem telling us exactly what they want, how much of they want it, when they want it, how they want it, and what happens. 9 times out of 10, they get it. So we have to do that in our lives too.
Yeah, it's crazy how, you know, as kids, they're so confident and so willing to speak out. But then I feel as we become adults, it's like we get maybe scared or have shame, or I don't know quite what it is. But I know, like, when I started my business and I quit my job, you know, my mom was like, what are you doing? Oh. You know, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, you know? And it's sometimes those mindsets of what should be expected of you that we have to fight through.
And many times if we listen to people outside of us, because everybody told me, go get a real job. But if we really truly listen, many times they're going to start saying, I wouldn't do that. I don't like that. I can't do it. And what they're doing is they're putting their mindset, their fears onto us. And that's what we have to listen is when people start saying, hey, Taylor, I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? Then you start to recognize, like, oh, they're expressing their fears. And their fears, they don't understand, could be holding us back. Versus now, it's funny for me, I had the same thing. People are like, go get a real job. But now at this point, Kelly homeschools our kids. I've got my own business. The people are like, oh, what are you guys doing? Now everybody goes, you guys have such flexible schedules. Can you help us out? Can you come here? Can you do it? It's like the proof is in the pudding. Now they've seen what is possible. And now they're actually coming over and say, can you help me out? And it's funny. And we can't have that fear because often when I'm on stage, I share people like, hey, there's like 3 things that hold us back. And people are like, well, what? I was like, number 1 is we have to stop trying. And they're like, people are like, what do you mean trying? I was like, stop trying to be somebody that you're not. I was like, because that's what our world is. I mean, we watch all these award shows and they start judging what people are wearing and going to do, or there's a trend, well, I want to dress like them. I love that you're in blue. And like you said, the blue has a meaning. Favorite color, it's New York Giants, that's your thing. It's like, that's so awesome. Now, do I have to wear blue? No. I can go pick my color. Like today, doing things a little bit different by wearing the red.
Looks great.
Right, it looks great. My wife likes the shirt. But generally, you'll see me in green because green is a reminder of what I speak on. And I don't care about what other people think. So I told people, like, stop trying to be somebody else. Work on being the best version of you. So what makes you, because that's what attracts people. We're attracted to people being their genuine self and authentic self versus being like everybody else. Number 2 is we start to care. And I told people, like, we got to stop caring. They're like, what do you mean stop caring? I was like, stop caring, valuing, and judging the opinions of people who don't care, value, for you. So we get a lot of points where we'll watch these influencers online and go and do it. And we're listening to these people and it's like, but mom or dad or somebody goes, hey, I like your hair. I like what your glasses are right now. I like what you're doing. Pfft, you're supposed to say that. But those are the people who actually are mentors, our coaches, the people there. They actually care and know where we want to go. I mean, I like to call these people taste testers. Because if we're cooking up something right now and you're my taste tester, I've expressed what I want to cook and produce. I go, hey, Taylor, what do you think? Need some more salt, Frank. Need some more sugar. So I'm willing to, number 1, listen to you. But number 2 is knowing that you value me. I'm also going to go and apply. So number 1, I have to be able to listen, but also understand that you care for me. So we need to listen more to the people who care about us than the people who don't.
It's like your board of directors. Like, whom is it that is in your circle of trust? The board of directors, they're not yes men. They're people who are going to be real with you, but genuinely care about your well-being.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that should be worried about, and everyone else is just noise.
And they're not going to tell you what you want to hear, but they're going to tell you what you need to hear, and they're going to challenge you and push you. So you have to find out, do I have people in my life who tell me no? For me, one of those people is my wife, Kelly. She goes, Frank, you have to stop speaking for free. That was one of the problems. So it's like, you have to learn how to go say no. And it's like, let them know you've got kids and lights to, kids to feed. They eat a lot. And it works. People had no problem doing that. And then the third piece is, I told people, for all of us, and this is my experience, is that we have to stop waiting. And I say waiting, for anybody, I'm going to look at the camera right now, means you wish an idea turns out. Okay? You wish an idea turns out. Wishing is a passive word. So we're in this Disney world right now. When you wish upon a star, the dream comes true. But if you go watch the rest of the verses to that song, it starts telling you detail that you have to have your heart's passion. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the detail. So we got to stop wishing. The best time to start something is right now. I mean, when we go cook something, we don't just go jump in the kitchen like we usually, we got to go to the grocery store. We got a plan. We got to start right now. So it's like, what video can you watch? What book can you read? Who can you go be mentored by? Start working, whatever the big dream or aspiration is, start working now, because we know, guess what? We got kids. I'm going to go back to the kids again. Hungry mouths don't get fed with no action. Some action has to be taken. So the idea is, what will we start doing today?
That's where I love Nike's, just do it. It's so true that, just do it. Just get started. You can change your logo down the road. You can refine things down the road. But if you never get started, then you're never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we're in this world, we're trying to be perfect, but nothing is perfect. I'm like, everything I'm sharing with you today, and I'm sure you share in all your shows, is we're showing our imperfections. The mistakes that we made, we always learn from mistakes. The reason you're a great parent, or people call me a great parent, is we've messed up. We've let our kids eat things they're not supposed to eat. I've messed the logo up. I've had misprints. Yep. I go back and look at my old business cards where it's like, is the whole perforated, Avery thing.
I like some of our old videos from a decade ago. I'm like, dang, look at that lighting.
Right. But it's a case of constantly working to improve. And so if we can work to be our best at that time, that's what we can shoot for. There's no perfect person. So shoot to be your best. But what happens is, we will, hold ourselves back, because the way the brain is designed is to keep us from being hurt, to expending energy. So we will self-justify why we don't do something. So I'm quiet. I'm shy. I've never run a business. I could bring up the whole list of why I couldn't do it. But now if I start thinking like, this allows me not to be fired anymore. I get to take care of my family. I get to be there to watch my kids' first footsteps. I mean, I remember when we first met, watching your son run around behind the scenes. Who gets a chance to go and do that? Recently, took my family for a speech, but we went to Puerto Rico for a week, and the family got to come along. The client recognized I love my family so much, they go, hey, we'll cover your travel costs for your family to come down. So the family got to come down and be on the trip. Those are the things that motivate me. And those sound crazy and big, where you get to run your mouth, share your experiences, and your family gets to travel with you. That's big dream. That's never going to happen.
But you made it happen.
But you made it happen. And I said, it's just like when you walk into a kitchen, we'll look like, okay, here's the ingredients that we have. We make something happen. And guess what? Even if you don't have all the right ingredients, we can go ahead and make a peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, yeah.
We can go ahead and put like the little fancy, toothpick in it, put it on a fancy plate, like, voila. And we're like, it can still be special. So it's like, what's special to us?
That's so true. No, I regularly will look in the fridge and go, what are we doing today?
Oh, yeah.
You use what you got. And that's Gloria Felt, one of her power tools she'll talk about is use what you got. And sometimes that's what you have to do, and just keep moving forward.
Yeah. So. And that's the piece. We have to be resourceful, because earlier you're saying, hey, Frank, you started to go down saying focus, resourceful, enthusiastic, strong, honest. Well, the whole piece today, we've been talking about stale and fresh. So for me, I always tell people you have to live fresh. And you just express it right there. If we're hungry for something, the first piece is we focus. What do we really want? We have to be willing to express it. Then you talked about it. We have to go look what we have. What are our resources? And stop thinking about what we don't have, but focus on what we do have. And one of the biggest thing is, we're in this generation where we are either a swipe, a handshake, or a click away from finding that resource that we need. I mean, people can watch this right now and go find you on social media and do one click. It's like, hey, I'd like to know more. I want to start my own business. Can I intern for you? We got to get resourceful. But then we have to get excited. My wife calls it being the woohoo. What gets us excited? Because the brain's not developed to want to work and stress itself. It wants that dopamine hit. So we have to start thinking like, well, what excites us? I'm excited about doing things for my family. I'm excited about sharing with the people here on the show. I'm excited about, hey, guess what? I'm not in a cubicle.
Right.
I mean, all those things excite me about what I get to do. But that excitement allows me to stay strong, which is mentally strong. And mentally strong just means is, what are we feeding our brain every day?
So true.
Are we waking up and consuming, quote, junk food when we like open up and like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and binge all this stuff early in the morning and it's an hour later and you've been feeding your brain junk? Or are we watching stuff where it's teaching us how to get better?
Yeah.
And then the final piece is we have to be honest with ourselves. And the honest piece is when we need help. You and I've met because I'm like, I don't know how to do video production. I don't know how to do so instead of saying, I don't know how, I'm like, oh, I got a resource right there. Let me contact Taylor and say, I need help. And that's the big piece for all of us is, are we willing to understand that we might be in the way sometimes? And the best way to get out of the way.
Most of the time, I think you're the ones in the way.
Yeah. And the big thing we have to do is always seek knowledge. That's what ask means. Just always seek knowledge. Go out and ask questions. And you talked about kids. My mom was a preschool teacher. She goes, the greatest time of growth for a human is 0 to 4. 80% of what we need to survive in life happens under the age of 4. We spend the rest of our life perfecting what we learned.
Wow. So powerful.
Yep.
And hence early education, whether it be at home, is so important. And, reading as soon as they're born is so important. And feeding in good stories and good knowledge. Like you were saying, we can choose to feed our brain junk food, like whatever is on Facebook or honestly, the news all the time. Or you can choose to feed yourself, wholesome food or wholesome knowledge that you can, utilize, whether it's an affirmation or a piece of information you can actually use.
Right. Like we want to be around the people we see who are doing something, but not it's only to watch and be passive is, as I said, then go click, whatever their button is. Like you're watching social media, click on the thing to friend them, or don't just friend them or like the post, leave a comment or ask them like, hey, it's like, can you go deeper into this? Because I want to go and do that. But we're in this scan swipe world where it's like we're scrolling, and 45 minutes has gone by. And it's like, boom. Like they talk about some people are spending 4 to 6 hours a day just scrolling. Like that's a job. Where could that 4 to 6 hours go?
Yeah.
It could allow you to go do, okay, I'm watching this person go on a vacation right now. Or you're watching and you're just consuming. And I always tell people are you a producer or a consumer? I'm like, are you working to cook things up? Because if you cook things up, you can serve yourself and others. Or if you're a consumer, you're waiting for somebody to cook things for you. Which one do you want to be? I don't want to be passive. I've done that.
No. As a type A personality, I'm definitely not the passive one to sit back and relax. Yeah. And so if someone was watching this and they go, wow, I'm not afraid of speaking. I'm not afraid to be on stage. What would be your suggestion to someone who wanted to have a profession in being a speaker?
Being a speaker. Well, the first piece is, we said earlier about asking for help. It is a lonely business. You can be in it by yourself. So I'm sure you probably hang out with other, if you want to say video editors, producers, you probably have a community that you're a part of, or you're part of, entrepreneurs. We have to be around other like-minded people. I always will tell people, I go, our mindset is our mental cookbook.
Yeah.
I was like, if you have a cookbook with no recipes in it, you're not cooking anything. So if we're hanging out with people who are consuming all the time, they're just waiting for someone to cook for them. So we need to go, first off, let's go find some other professional speakers. A lot of cities, a lot of places around the world will have like little clubs, groups, get-togethers. There's stuff online, offline. Find those things. I'm a part of a group called the National Speakers Association. The National Speakers Association is here in the United States, but then there's a thing called the Global Speaking Federation, which is 13 other speaking groups around the world.
Wow.
Many of them have local chapters or they have online chapters. You can go there and you can be around other speakers who are looking to build their business. You either have aspiring speakers who are new, people kind of middle of the road, or these experienced Hall of Fame people, but they're all there to help grow. So the first thing is find the community that's going to help you grow. We have to be around other like-minded people. Not saying that you can't be around other, people or thinkers, but if you're looking to go for something, shouldn't you be around the majority of the time around the people who are trying to do the same thing as you?
Yeah, I forget that exact phrase, but it's something like you're the average of the top 5 people you hang out with or something. Yeah. And so, think about who are those top 5 people that you're around. Are they people who complain about their situation, say they have no time to do anything, but they're just sleeping in on Saturdays and Sundays and only doing their 9 to 5s? And
Exactly. I mean, like my accountability partner, her name is Misty Campbell. She's a speaker, but she's also a parent, just like myself. She jokes around with me, like when we pick up on the phone, she's like, "Hello, you've reached the award-winning Misty Campbell." Well, she and I were at a conference this year, and we both got awards for our speaking. So it was fun to go
put
and
it out there into the universe.
So we put it out there, but that's something where we challenge each other. Like, hey, we're going to write a book. She wrote her book. I wrote my book.
Nice.
We're going to go speak here. We're going to go do this. So I'm around a like-minded person. Like we meet every Friday. We've met every Friday for the last 5 years.
Wow.
Like without a doubt, just to push and challenge each other. She came out with her kids to meet my kids and meet my wife. And so it's a piece there. So that's the thing is, another thing for a speaker is don't call yourself a speaker anymore. If you're looking to make this into a business, you want to call yourself a professional speaker.
Oh, okay.
Because if I said right now, it's like, oh, and I know this is lowering the bar, but if I say right now you're a videographer, that just means, okay, you shoot video.
Right.
But if I say you're a professional videographer, what are you thinking?
That I'm going to create high-end work and
And you get paid for it too.
Yeah, you get paid at a professional scale versus
Exactly.
a child scale.
If we call ourselves a professional speaker, then what happens is we understand that there's work that has to be done behind the scene, the business side.
That's true.
If I call myself just a speaker, all I'm focused on is how to write the next speech.
Just get a gig, your gig life.
Well, it's not even a gig life because a speaker is just working about speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not even thinking about the work, the emails, the phone calls that have to be secured to get the gig. 80% of what I do is not speaking on stage. It's securing the gig or securing the actual event. The reason I love being on stage is because now I don't have to make the phone calls and do the email. I get to do the speaking piece. So for you as a business owner, think about it. How much time do you actually do with the video part?
That's true. That is true.
You're doing all the business part of it. So we have to think of ourselves as a professional speaker. And then the other part is, the third one is just get out there. You said just do it earlier, but just get out there. There may be places where we'll say, hey, we don't have a fee for you yet. It's like, okay, well, go and speak, but learn how to go ahead and leverage that into future speeches. But I know so many speakers, I was this way too. I'm a speaker. Well, when are you speaking? I don't have anything on the calendar. So there's never a chance for people to come actually see me speak. Our superpower for me as a speaker is to speak. So I work to get on many stages. And if I'm not on a stage, then I'm on a show like this, still speaking to keep me at a high level. So that's thinking like a professional. So the thing is, find every opportunity you can to go and speak because people need to see you, practice that craft. If I've never seen you, I got to wait for the perfect time. There's not a good spot. I got to go prepare for it. Then it's not going to happen. I mean, if I'm at a party right now, I go, I'm a professional speaker. Someone's like, give me 5 minutes. I can do 5 minutes right now.
Yeah.
And that's going to be proof like, wow, if he can do that in 5 minutes on the spot, what happens if I give him a week, a month, or a year to prep and go and do and give him an hour, 90 minutes on stage? So the big piece is build that community and network. So find that group of people. I told you earlier, like we have to get out there and work, but then more importantly, call yourself a professional speaker because then that's going to give you the mindset of this is a business. I am a business owner, and the way I deliver my content, so business owner first, content expert second, and third is your speaker. Yeah. Speaker is how you deliver that content, and the content, because you're a business owner, you're trying to figure out how I can get that content out to the masses.
Yeah, and like you said too, it's about finding those stages and practicing because as you practice, I don't say practice makes perfect. Practice makes better.
Yeah.
Every time, no matter how long you've been doing it. I'm sure even yourself, if you look at your game tape, you'll see, I could have done this. I could have looked more in that direction and given them more attention on that side of the stage. And there's always things that we can enhance on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a cell phone or an app. I told people I'm never going to be perfect. And this year is going on year 20 of professional speaking. And I go, this is version of Frank 20.0. And then next year will be 21.0, 22, and I'm going to always keep getting better. But if you think about our phones and our technology, it's like, okay, this is version 5.1, 5.2. So for anyone watching this right now, don't feel bad because you're version 1.0. That's the best of what you have now. But as you learn, then you're going to upgrade to version 2.0 and then 3.0. And that's how it is for all of our lives because I'm sure with your business, for me, I go back and look at my marketing, my videos from 20 years ago. I'm like, how did I even get booked?
Yeah.
But it's the best of what I had right then.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so true. And then as long as you keep growing and keep getting better, then, you're, and as long as you go into it with integrity of helping others, I think at the end of the day, that's what's the most important thing is that it's not about us. It's not about me making a video. It's not about you speaking on a stage. It's about how we're helping the people.
Yeah. And that's all it is no matter what your business is, whatever you do in life, personal, professional, like how am I serving others too? Like, yes, we have to serve ourselves, but how are we serving others?
Wow, this has been one amazing episode. Like, I feel like you need to rewatch this because there's so much for whether you want to become a speaker or just be more successful in even life. There's so much to take away about having a fresh mindset and not letting things get stale. And so I know we're going to have links all, underneath this video in the show notes, but how would you want people to get a hold of you if they want to either hire you as a keynote or even just, tap your shoulder about, learning how to become a professional speaker?
Yeah, I mean, I've got 3 spots where I really hang out that I try to direct people to. So the first one is my website. Then you just go to frankkitchen.com. I know that's in the show notes. So just go to my website, Frank Kitchen. There's only one of me out there, so it's pretty easy to find me. Second one is I deliver a lot of content on LinkedIn. I believe that LinkedIn is a place that helps people grow. So that's why I hang out there on that platform. And then YouTube. Thanks to you. I've got like 250 some videos out there. So I'm always sharing content out there. You've helped me plug. She helped me build my YouTube channel and page the right way. Go to my YouTube channel. I'm always constantly putting video out there and working to make sure that there is some, quote, fresh content that's going to keep people inspired to make sure that they can go out there and cook up the results they're hungry for.
Love it. Well, definitely, if you want to be inspired, you need to follow Frank. There was so much gold dropped here. And then definitely pick up these books and pick up the new workbook. We'll make sure there's a link to that in the show notes as well. So thank you so much for cooking up some great content with me today.
And before we go, you got to hold it. I mean, you gotta have some fun with that one on camera. So let's go ahead and get that. Yeah, there we go.
Just go flip that mindset now. All right. Thank you, Frank.
All right. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you for watching Tales with Taylor. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Financial Potion YouTube channel to never miss an episode.